In today's climate, nothing will make you a more accurate or confident shooter than Crimson Trace laser sighting systems. Get the immediate, decisive advantage of the world's only grip-integrated laser sights today. Shoot better, stay safer. Crimson Trace.
This is Tom Gresham's Gun Talk, now available on iTunes and other podcast clients, and on the free Gun Dealio smartphone app for iPhone and Android. Feel free to call Tom now at 1-TOM-TALK-GUN or 866-825-5486, or email Tom at guntalk.com. Now, once again, here's Tom.
All right, back with you. Tom Gresham here. It is, in fact, Gun Talk. 866-TALK-GUN gets you in here. Just dial 1-TOM-TALK-GUN. Of course, we're on Facebook, Gun Talk Media there. And we have our guest co-host is joining me. What happens when somebody comes to visit you and just wants to hang out? Oh, no. You don't get to hang out. You have to work. So Jane Anne Shimizu from Gunsight Academy is here with us.
Hey, we call that hard fun.
Hard fun. Gunsight, by the way, is Gunsite. Nice little play on words, because you do need to be looking at the site when you are shooting. Gunsight.com. The Harvard of gunfighting schools, it's been called.
Yes.
How many acres you got at that place?
We have 2,800 acres now.
Shazam.
We've got 22 purpose-built ranges. We go out to 2,000 meters.
Oh, you're doing a lot of long-range shooting
We
now.
have a lot of precision rifle interest all of a sudden. In the last 2 years, that is a huge competitive thing going on in this country.
Are you seeing the same thing everybody else is, with lots and lots more people wanting to get training in concealed carry, tactics, all that kind of stuff?
For the first time in the history of me watching that website grow, I am actually having to put classes as sold out.
Whoa.
April, May, June are almost all sold out. There's no room. So if you want to come to Gunsight, call right away, because it's getting more and more packed.
I have said this so many times. I know people tire of hearing it, and yet occasionally somebody will call in and say, Tom, I listened to you say this for years. I finally went to Gunsight. I finally get it. And here's my line for that. And it's really simple. There really is nothing else I know that I can tell you. This is me talking. This is not Jane Anne. A classic Gunsight will change your life forever. You will, after 5 days there, you will not be the same person, and never in your life again will you be the same person. How many times have people come and told you that?
It's like drinking from a water spout when you get there. We throw things at you for 5 solid days. It's immersion teaching. Mm-hmm. And once you're done on Friday, you don't want to go home anymore. You want to take your next class at Gunsight. But the change in my life was phenomenal, because I was confident for the first time having a firearm in my house around my children.
You went to Gunsight before you started working there.
Way before I started working there. That's how I got the job.
Why'd you go there?
My boyfriend at the time said, I want to give you a class at Gunsight for your vacation. And I was an ophthalmic technician. And I said, well, I want to go to Hawaii. He said, I'll tell you what, if you take this class at Gunsight, I'll take you to Hawaii. And lo and behold, graduation day at Gunsight, I no longer wanted to go to Hawaii. I wanted to take the next class. I took so many classes. When the new owner bought Gunsight in 99, he hired me.
So it's going to be easier just to hire you and keep you around that way.
Exactly, because I had no other classes I could take. No.
Oh, you take it almost. Well, of course, now you guys have all these other classes.
Yeah.
Like you say, you've got precision rifle. You've got, you could take anything there, from the 250 class to 350 class, advanced techniques, tactics. You've got
close quarters, shotgun, advanced tactical shotgun. And now we're doing specialty classes on home defense. We're doing specialty classes on active shooter. What do you do? What do you do if you're in a mall?
Talk to me about that. You're doing active shooter now.
Well, we've done 2 of the classes now, and they're popular because what would you do if you were in a mall and there was an active shooter? And we have set up scenarios on the ranges and given you something to take home with you that's a tool that you will have if, heaven forbid, something did happen. And the active shooter classes are going over big.
Well, what we find with this first-person offender series we've been doing, I told you, is that if people have not had any training, they simply lock up. It's like running around in circles because they have no idea what to do. Once they've been through some training, now they have something in the drawer they can pull out and go, okay, mentally, I know what to do with this. I know an idea what I can do here.
I've been there. I've done that.
I've been there, done that.
And in our 250 class, 3 days on the square range, we teach you everything you really need to know about operating your handgun, and then we take you into simulators. Indoor and outdoor simulators.
Shooting simulations?
Shooting live fire.
Live fire.
Live fire in the 250
in
class.
the shoot houses?
Yeah, in the shoot houses.
Okay.
And Cooper believed if you trained at something that you would truly remember it if you put it into real life practice, into a real life scenario.
Okay.
So we do that. We might create a home invasion scenario. You might be just going on a hike and somebody's laying there going, help me, help me. Well, you don't necessarily want to help them. You might want to call 911 because...
it might be a trap.
Yep.
And then if you have been exposed to this, and it's like this multiple branch tree, this can happen, this can happen, this can happen, and you've kind of mentally explored all of those as well as physically gone there. And what do I do if? Then when something happens, at least you have something to go to instead of just running around in circles trying to figure out what to do.
Yes, it's an epiphany.
It is an epiphany, the gun sight epiphany it is called. Tell you what, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we've got a guest we want to talk to about our injured veterans, wounded warriors, if you will, and a little bit different take on getting them back involved with not just shooting, but also it's I guess, Jane Anne, you'd really call it a type of therapy. It advances their recovery process. And I know you guys have done a fair amount of that at Gunsight also.
Yeah, we had some great Wounded Warrior classes.
All right. We'll be right back with more Gun Talk.
Accurate, powerful, consistent. At Double Tap Ammunition, we offer 364 loads in 83 calibers that give you exactly what you've been looking for. Try us out at www.doubletapammo.com and use the promo code GUNTALK for 10% off your order.
Are you looking for a place to shoot? The National Shooting Sports Foundation has a great website called wheretoshoot.org. It's the largest database of shooting ranges on the internet. It's also a great resource for shooters where you can find video tips, printable targets, and a lot more. Find it online at wheretoshoot.org. And while you're there, download their free iPhone app. That's wheretoshoot.org.
You spent the entire morning in a blind, waiting for your shot. Then, missed it and spooked all the big game for miles. Every hunter dreams about the one that got away, and at silencershop.com, we make dreams come true. Shooting suppressed means there's no big bang, no violent recoil, and no watching your prize get away because you couldn't get off a follow-up shot. Want a trophy mount on your wall? Put a can on your rifle from silencershop.com. Making the world a quieter place.
If you're like me, you don't have money to burn, but you still want to buy guns, ammo, and accessories. That's why we created Gun Dealio. That's a free smartphone app. Just download it and start getting the deals. Could be discounts, offers of free magazines for your gun, or you could be the first to hear about new stuff from gun makers. Here's how it works. With Gun Dealio on your phone, you get alerts when you enter a gun store. Special deals, you know. You don't have to do a thing. It'll do a lot of other cool things, like let you watch gun videos and listen to Gun Talk podcast. Plus, check it anytime for hundreds of deals and offers. Getting more while spending less. Smart, huh? Gun Dealio. Made in America. Gluten-free. At the App Store and Google Play or gundealio.com.
At Double Tap Ammunition, we hand inspect every round that we make, and we use only the best components to give you the best ammunition on the market. Try us out at www.doubletapammo.com and use the promo code GUNTALK for 10% off your order.
With you, Tom Gresham. Jane Anne Shimizu has joined us from Gunsight Academy. Glad that you're here. This is fun.
It is fun.
All right, our guest right now is Rick Cicero. And Rick, well, I'll tell you what, rather than me tell you, he's working with Wounded Warriors, but let me bring you in. Hey, Rick, how are you, sir?
I'm good, and yourself, sir?
Excellent. Tell everybody your story. What happened to you, and how'd you get into this whole thing?
Well, I was walking a foot patrol back in August 2010, and the ID detection dog I was working with took me right to one, unfortunately. And when the dog alerted, it was one of those, oh no, it's between you and I actually was straddling the pressure plate at that moment. And before I could even raise my hand to stop the patrol, as I turned and pivoted, I actually detonated it. So that resulted in the loss of my right arm and right leg. And, one of the key things for me was always getting back to shooting. My dad has been a firearms instructor since I was a little boy and still is. And I now have been a firearms instructor for 20 years. And one of the best things in my rehab was getting back and learning to shoot again. And quite honestly, I was the toughest student I've ever had. And, for my dad, he was always about, let's get back out, let's get back on that pony and ride. So that was one of the first things I did. 2 months after I got out of the hospital, he drug me to the range and we went out shooting. And it was some of the best choices I ever could have made. So in my own recovery, I've been working with other guys, and now I'm at a point where I can shoot it again at a level where I feel I can teach. And with some of my fellow combat injured guys that I was working with, they'd gotten to a point where they could shoot well enough, but every instructor school I knew of required you to kneel, stand, prone, roll, everything that you had to do to be able-bodied, you had to do. And for guys who are missing an arm or in a wheelchair or whatever, well, they don't have those capabilities. And I was fortunate enough when the SIG brace came out, that the creator of the SIG brace is actually a friend of mine. And I am the first lucky one-armed guy to ever have one. And I've been shooting it since its inception.
Well, let me explain. For those who don't know, we're talking about the SIG brace from Sig Sauer. And it is if you will, a Velcro strap-on device that lets you shoot an AR pistol one-handed. Is that fair enough description?
That is an excellent description. And it gave me the motivation to come to realize I'd be able to stand up and shoot a .223 again.
Cool.
So in that, I've gotten to have a good relationship with some of the folks at Sig Sauer. And long story short, we were at SHOT Show, and I was shooting some demos up there. And when I approached some folks from HABA and the folks at the NRA and SIG, we came up with some resources, and they said basically, if your guys shoot as well as you do, and you say they're qualified to be firearms instructors, we'll put them through school. NRA actually said, yes, we'll not only put them through school, but we will get them credited for what they're capable of doing. And actually now we've got a team of guys assembled that are primarily combat injured folks, and I've got a half dozen amputees on the team. I've got one guy in a wheelchair who is getting out of the chair and walking with a walker now. And by the way, he was never supposed to. I've got 3 other guys on the team who were never supposed to get out of wheelchairs and walk that do. And these are the kind of people that we need to help motivate our fellow service members.
All right, I got to share with you, Rick. Just like Jane Anne, you were showing me a picture a minute ago of a class you had at Gunsight. Describe this picture.
Well, I was wondering if you were maybe one of the guys. He has a prosthetic arm and one prosthetic leg, and he was shooting his pistol. He took his prosthetic leg and he turned it upside down, and he used it as a monopod. And
he's resting his pistol on top of his upside-down foot on his prosthetic leg, like it's a monopod. And I'm thinking, now, you know what? That's an attitude right there. That's an attitude of, I am going to do this.
Well, and that is exactly the attitude that we want to enhance. No, that's not me. However, I've seen that picture quite often, and that's the kind of instinct we want to evoke. I've been working and looking at all of the things that have made my shooting back at a level that I'm proud to stand anywhere under anybody's camera and shoot. And to use that to motivate other folks. I was actually just in San Diego last weekend teaching out there at a HAVA event, and to deal with 20 other amputees and share with them the successes I've had, and to hear them say, well, geez, I'd love to come to one of your schools. Or how do we get one out our way? So the end state of where we're at is we've been working within the firearms industry between the support from the NRA, HAVA, and a lot of the corporations that have donated several different firearms to our program, because we need to make sure we have the resources to benefit everybody's abilities. I don't use the word disability within my schoolhouse because I don't believe it. We all just have varying abilities compared to one another. And in using those to our advantage, we can develop success. So,
by the way, let me jump in here because you've mentioned HAVA several times. I want to tell people what that is. It's HAVA. It's Honored American Veterans Afield. The website is honoredveterans.org. It's a really good group. I've been involved with it. And there are, and I hasten to say, there are, Jane Anne, a lot of really great groups. We know about the problem with the Wounded Warrior Project, and it's never been pro-gun at all. In fact, it's virtually anti-gun. But there are a lot of great programs with veterans.
Yes, there are.
That involve shooting.
The one we worked with was Rogue Corps, and it's interesting. SIG Academy provided all the guns for them for that class.
That's cool.
Yeah. That was a great class.
Well, Rick, where do you go from here with this? Well, I mean, how do you obviously you want to build this program and make it available to more people.
Well, what we're looking to do right now is our very first class is going to run in June. It's actually a little ahead of the curve because the folks at the Rock Castle Shooting Complex and the veterans in that area were motivated to ask for us to come out there and run a course. So we're going to go out, and the end state goal is to be running courses all over the country at some of the best shooting facilities we can get, so that, number one, we get these young men and women the opportunity to get out and shoot effectively in a 5-day course that will involve pistols, braced firearms, rifles, and shotguns. And when they complete the course, they'll not only leave with a basic NRA pistol and rifle certification, but they're also going to have a basic operational functional knowledge with each of these firearms. They'll have completed an actual qualification course in each course of fire and not just shoot for fun. And they'll also leave with a letter that gives them the ability to get a pistol permit in their home state if they haven't been able to obtain one to that point.
That is fabulous. That is just terrific. Now, do you have a website or someplace people can go to get more info?
Well, actually, we have not released it yet on the HAVA website because they want to do some more coordination before we open it up and put it out there, because right now we have the resources to get off the ground, but we want to make sure that we launch and we launch well. And what we're looking to do at this moment is gain some more partners, not only within the firearms industry, but within the shooting community, and look at the best ways to get this available to our community. You know, right now we're looking at where guys retire to, which tends to be around the places they retire from, such as Fort Campbell, Fort Bragg, Virginia Beach, Camp Lejeune,
makes sense.
Down here in Florida. And this way here, if we can bring the mountain to them and show them the path, it's a heck of a lot easier to climb than to try to get to the mountain and find their own way. And
okay, so let me jump in because we're going to run out of time here, Rick. So should people monitor the HAVA website for announcements?
Well, they can, or they can reach out directly to HAVA if they have inquiries. They can either send them a message via the contact us point, or they can reach me directly at my email, which is richard_Cicero@bellsouth.net. And the more resources we have, the better we can make this happen. And as we all know, it's about getting guys out. And the key point I want to leave with on this is that when we look at some of these veterans organizations, unfortunately, they've been not misdirected, but a lot of the guys that have some significant injuries don't want to be part of them because they don't want anybody feeling sorry for themselves. They want to get back to living. And this whole program is exactly about that. It's about getting back to living. It's about independence, and it's about enjoying life and learning skills and confidence.
Excellent. Well, I appreciate it. And that's Richard-Cicero, Cicero, at bellsouth.net?
It's Richard_Cicero.
Okay, Richard_Cicero at bellsouth.net. And Hava, you can check out that website, honoredveterans.org. Great group. I would encourage anybody to get involved with that. I sure appreciate you spending some time with us here, Rick. This is great, and congratulations on doing this, man. That's a huge attaboy. Thank you, sir. You take care. Jane Anne, this is the kind of thing that I'm looking over here. You're just smiling.
I'm just proud of these wounded veterans that they get out there and do it, and it gives me a warm and fuzzy feeling knowing that they don't want to be in a wheelchair. They want to live life like a normal person.
And you work every day with veterans. I mean, whether they're your instructors, but also you have a ton of military, either active duty and veterans who come through Gunsight. So, I mean, that's very much a part of your world.
It is a part of our world. And if they call Gunsight, there are many times we can get them into a class and they'll give them a discount for being a veteran.
Really?
Yes.
Well, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Okay. And, I mean, I know some of the instructors you have there. I mean, you've got former everything.
Former everything, yes. You name it, we've got it. I was starting to
think about it. No, you actually have former everything from, Army, Navy, SEALs, Marines, three-letter agency people.
We are always proud to say that our instructors have been there, done that.
Yeah. I mean, Border Patrol, police departments.
Yes.
I particularly, who the funniest ones are? The former EOD guys.
Oh, yeah.
The bomb disposal guys, they're hilarious.
Yeah. Chris Ware, Ed Stock, yes.
Yes, I mean, they just, I don't know what it is. Maybe it's the gallows humor when you're defusing bombs and all, but they've got the best stories of anybody.
They do. Those guys like to blow stuff up. They'll tell you that.
All righty. There goes our guest host for you. It's I don't know that we are able to do that. So we appreciate that. I'll tell you what, if you'd like to join us, we're going to be open lines right now. It is 866-TALK-GUN. That'll get you in here. I want to talk a little bit about the guns that you like and maybe the ones you don't. Also, when we come back, I've got a holster story of one that did not work out so well. You're laughing over there. You saw me do this. Yeah. It's brand new holster. No, that did not work. We need to go back to the drawing board on that one. 866-TALK-GUN.
Want your opinion to make a difference? Log on to our website and take the Gun Talk poll, www.guntalk.com. Now, once again, opinion page regular contributor for the Washington Times, here's Tom.
Hey, welcome back. Here's one email comes in from Adrian. Jane Anne, he says, I don't have a chance to call. He said, I went to the doctor 3 weeks ago for some headaches. It says, listening to your show today got me and my wife thinking. That day, the doctor kept asking several times if I was depressed, and I keep saying no. So he ordered some blood work and then prescribed me some pills. After I got them, I read the info, and they were for depression. Which, he says, I then called them right away and told them I'm not going to take them. He says, and the side effects were worse than what I have. So what you have here is a doctor who's not listening or not paying attention or deciding, yeah, you're saying you're not depressed, but I think probably you're depressed. The frightening part of that is, even though you've said you're not, and that's not what you're there for, the doctor has now entered that into your records, and you have been prescribed medicine for depression, and that could go on your record with the FBI and could conceivably be used to strip you of your Second Amendment rights.
What are you going to do? Not go to the doctor.
Raise holy hell.
Do not go to the doctor.
Well, that's the problem. That's what's going on, is that we're going to get to the point where if you are at all concerned with your gun rights, you're not going to go to the doctor. You're not going to go to the hospital unless you're bleeding out.
Mm-hmm.
And, you're going to go back to what you said. You're going to find a private doctor who doesn't take Medicare, doesn't take insurance, and takes cash.
Yep. And I think you're going to see a lot more of that in the future.
And a lot of people are doing what do they call this? Medical tourism. They actually go to another country once a year to get their checkup and all their work done for like a quarter of the cost of what it would be here, with U.S. doctors there and really first-rate medical care.
Really?
Go to Costa Rica, go down there, spend a few days. By the time you pay the airfare there and back and all the rest of it, you're still thousands of dollars ahead. So
interesting.
We're going to be exporting our medical care because they're basically using your doctor as an agent of the government now.
Against you.
Against you. Whoa. That's concerning, I'll tell you. It really is. Let's see. Jim called in on line 1 out of Nebraska. Got a question here about, what? An NAA witness? Jim, what are you doing? Do you have one of these?
No, I don't. I was looking to, I have 2 USP Expert HKs, and they're big. They're big guns. They're big pistols.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to downsize, and HK doesn't have anything with adjustable sights, that are smaller. Everything else is a fixed sight. And I was...
Why would you want adjustable sights on a defensive gun?
Well, I'm not exactly using it as a defensive gun. I'm using it as just to go out and shoot.
Oh, okay. So you're just looking for a smaller gun. You're just looking for a smaller gun to shoot at the range, then?
Yes.
Okay.
And
a lot of ways to go there.
I've never seen the EAA Witness Limited other than in pictures, and I know they're like the CZ. And I was just wondering if you guys have had any experience. Are they something that is of value to you? I mean, they're an expensive gun.
They are, and of course the CZs are. They're actually pretty good guns. So I've not had any experience with it, and Jane, I don't know if you have either.
No, not at all.
Yeah. So I mean, they have a good reputation. CZ has a good reputation. I just have not used that pistol, so I just don't know. I can't help you. There are, if you start poking around, there are a number of guns that are not particularly large that do have adjustable sights. But, once again, we are blessed with a lot of options these days.
Yes.
So I would just, the other thing is, here's where I'm going to come down on this. If you're asking me about this pistol, you have an interest in this pistol, go find one, put your hands on it, try it at the range if you can, or at the very least, just hold it in the gun store. And when you find it, 2 things. If it feels good in your hands, buy it. And the other thing I would ask is, if you go to a gun store and you ask them questions about it and you handle it, don't go online and buy it from somebody else cheaper. If you take advantage of the gun store's stock and its expertise, buy it from the gun store. If we don't do that, next time we go, there won't be a gun store there.
Well,
so,
that's
there you
one
go.
of
Look,
my
I appreciate
problems. I've never seen one at a gun store.
Okay, and I don't know what to tell you. I don't have it. Tell you what I'll do. Here's what we'll do. If anybody has any experience with the EAA Witness, give us a call. We'll see if we can get you at least some first-hand experience. And you keep listening. We'll see if we can round that up for you. Look, I appreciate the call. Jane Anne, you guys see every gun possible coming through Gunsight.
Actually, no. Before they get to Gunsight, we have them tell us what they're bringing. And if it's not acceptable, if you can't shoot 1,000 rounds out of it in a week without it breaking, or if it's too small and it's going to cause you pain, then we want you to know before you get there. If you get there and you can't handle the tiny little gun that you brought, we'll put a bigger one in your hand to shoot. Because, the smaller the gun, the more the recoil.
The more punishing it is.
Yeah.
It's like, I know that, there are times, and we'll talk about this, dressing, you pick a gun to fit the way you're dressing. And sometimes you're carrying a 1911, and sometimes you're carrying a J-frame Smith & Wesson small revolver. As much as we love the small J-frame, it's not a lot of fun to go to shoot several hundred rounds, much less 1,000 rounds out of them.
And we shoot 1,050 rounds in our 250 pistol class.
Wow.
So you've got to be able to handle the weapon, and you don't want to leave with your hands all taped up in bandages and bleeding, so you should make sure your gun is dehorned and smooth.
Explain dehorned.
Dehorned, you get a gun out of a box and you go to rack the slide, or you go to lock the slide open, and it cuts you and you're bleeding. Well, that happens a lot with some of the pistols you see, and you can take it to your gunsmith and tell him you want it dehorned, and that way you can shoot 1,000 rounds out of it without hurting yourself.
Dehorning is basically taking all those sharp edges off that the gun makers are so proud of, because it takes a lot of engineering and fine work to make those sharp edges on sights and different parts. And then you go, or actually the gunsmith takes a file or a buffer wheel or whatever and smooths it out. I've heard it described as the gun ends up feeling like a used bar of soap.
Yeah, and it's nice.
With just no sharp edges anywhere.
Our gun sight service pistols come out of the box like that.
Really?
Yes. They're made in the Colt precision area, and before they're even put in the box, they are perfect.
So I bet a lot of people don't even know that Gunsight sells pistols. You have your own pistols.
We have our own pistols. We have the Colt Gunsight service pistol. For a while, we had the Smith & Wesson officer's model. We don't have that anymore because they quit making them. Right. We're going to have a new 40th anniversary pistol. Not quite sure who's going to make that for us, but it should be available in October.
Okay, and that'll all be available information on the website.
Yes.
Gunsight, that's GUNSITE.com. There you go.
Right.
All right. Don't go far. We'll be right back. We're looking for your range reports. What have you been shooting? What are you thinking about buying? Oh, yeah, I'll tell you the story about that holster. No, it didn't work out. Somebody didn't think through on this one. And the thing is, you'd never know it by looking at it. I'll describe what happened. Be right back.
Hardcore tactical professionals who put their lives on the line every day depend on Surefire. For decades, Surefire has built the first and finest professional-grade flashlights, weapon-mounted lights, hearing protection, and suppressors. We build the best because lives depend on it, and we know failure is not an option. We design, engineer, and manufacture Surefire products right here in the U.S. For you, for your loved ones, Surefire. American built, American strong. Surefire.com.
In the war on terror, fighting crime in the streets, in competition and homes around the world, one name in firearms stands out: Sig Sauer. Our pistols and rifles are renowned for their unfailing performance. This same commitment to excellence can be found in our line of SigTac accessories and the training offered by the Sig Sauer Academy. For unmatched quality, reliability, and innovation when it counts, choose Sig Sauer. Visit SigSauer.com today.
Hi, this is Tom Gresham from Gun Talk. America is losing critical wildlife habitat at a rate of 1 football field every hour. It's happening on the Louisiana coast, but it's critical to all sportsmen and conservationists. These precious wetlands provide winter habitat for more than 10 million ducks and geese annually, waterfowl that migrate north through dozens of states. Don't shrug it off. Get involved. You can help. Visit vanishingparadise.org.
Bigfoot gun belts, made with legendary leather and quality craftsmanship, are built to support the full weight of even the heaviest handgun. With a spring steel core embedded between 2 layers of rich English bridle leather, you'll never deal with a sagging belt ever again. Each gun belt is handmade with the blood, sweat, and beards of dedicated, skilled Pacific Northwest belt makers. Capture your gun belt for as low as $54.88 at BigfootGunBelts.com.
The Ruger LCRX is a variation of the LCR that features an external hammer, allowing it to be fired in single-action mode. The LCRX can also be fired in double-action mode. It features a monolithic frame made from aerospace-grade 7000 series aluminum, a patented Ruger friction-reducing cam that results in a smooth, non-stacking trigger pull, and a patent-pending polymer fire control housing that significantly reduces weight and helps reduce recoil. The Ruger LCRX Revolver, another rugged, reliable firearm from Ruger.
Back with you. I promised that I would tell you about the holster saga. Jane Anne's over laughing. You witnessed this whole thing.
I did. It looked fine to me when you...
It looked fine to me. You get this new holster. It's a I don't know if it's Kydex. It's some kind of a synthetic thing. It's not one of our sponsors, by the way. And the thing is, people always say, well, what do you carry? And I say, well, I carry different stuff all the time because I have to. How else would you know about this problem? And this thing looked good, right?
Looked good.
Okay. Slide the pistol into it.
Had screws if you needed to loosen it up to make it fit better.
Everything's great. I put this on inside the waistband, put my gun on. Everything's cool. It's great. Cinch my belt up. Then, doing it all unloaded because brand new. I want to try this out. I'm going to try a few draws. I practically picked myself up off the floor trying to draw this gun. It would not come out of the holster. I mean, you saw.
I saw. I couldn't believe it, but you're right.
It would not. Take it off, and the gun goes in and out of the holster just fine. Not a problem. So we take the holster and we're squishing it, and it's soft. It's squishy. The I don't know if it's Kydex or injection polymer or whatever it is, but basically it's not stiff. And so what was happening is, being an inside the waistband holster, and I like to have a belt tight when I have a gun on. I don't want it moving around. I don't want it sliding. I want to know right where it is. So I cinched the belt down, and it basically just crushed this holster around the gun, and I quite literally could not pull the gun out of the holster when I was wearing the holster. And I would never have known. So it goes back to what we've talked about, which is you have to try this stuff out, and don't just buy a gun or a holster or loads or anything and then depend upon it without going out and trying it.
And make sure once you've tried it, you dry fire with it quite a few times.
Yeah, when I say try it, I mean go out to the range and shoot it and dry fire it and do stuff. I mean, because this would have been one of those deals you think, well, it's just a holster. I mean, the gun works fine, ammo works fine. It's just a holster. I'll put it on, and you go out there, and if you needed your gun, you couldn't have gotten it out of the holster.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like, eye-opener. INTOT. I never thought of that.
INTOT.
Yeah, no, Jane Anne likes our acronym, INTOT. You guys get that all the time. INTOT. And by the way, if you have been to Gun Sight, would love to get your input on this. Tell us about your trip out there. Just got an email from Lance, says, I've never heard you mention Front Sight in Nevada. Can you comment on this facility? I've never been there. Actually, I have mentioned it before, and I can say things that Jane Anne can't. I'll let you have your say on this, okay? My deal is, if you had a choice, go to Gun Sight. There are a number of really good training facilities out there. I've not been to Front Sight. I've heard a number of things about it. It would not be my first choice, quite frankly. But having said that, Jane Anne, and we agree on this, I think, all training is worthwhile.
You need to get training. After you leave Gun Sight, when you graduate, our spiel is go get training. Go experience training somewhere else. Never stop training. It might not be the experience you had at Gun Sight, but any training is good. Most training is good training.
I was going to say, not all training.
There are, but if you go to another place to train and it's scary, walk away.
Yes.
It's not worth it. But there are very good small town trainers out there that can do a fine job for you.
And to return to that point, trust your instincts. If something's going on here and you're thinking, man, people are too casual with their guns. They're pointing them at here, or somebody's pointed a gun at me like twice, which is like, twice too many times. It may be time for you to just pack up and go get in the car and drive away and lose your money.
Exactly.
Even if you can't get your money back, don't worry about it. Just leave, right?
Yep.
And I know,
walk away.
I know several people who have done that. Said, man, I gave up a 2-day class and left at lunch. I said, why? He says, I got tired of having people point their 12-gauge shotguns at my stomach. Yeah, that would do it for me.
Definitely.
Tell you what, when we come back, I want to talk about something. I know everybody's talking about more women are getting into concealed carry, more women are getting into shooting. You've been kind of at the forefront of that. You've been teaching classes, helping with that. Get your take on that. It's a variation on the old story of the line, what do women want? And in this case, I think maybe what they want is something a little bit different from what men want, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Definitely.
We'll be talking about that. 866-TALK-GUN. We're visiting with Jane Anne from Gun Sight. And I'm Tom Gresham. right, back with you here. I tell you what, Jane, let's hold on to that thought about women getting involved in shooting. We got Tim and Eric have been on hold for a little while here. Let's pull in Tim on line 3 out of Carson City, Nevada. Tim, what you looking for here?
Hey, I'll tell you what, Jane Anne, I completely agree with you having a concierge doc, by the way. I have one of them. I have my regular insurance doc through work. I can never get a hold of the guy. My cash doc, I call him. I can get a hold of that guy anytime, any day of the week. Right now I can get a hold of him. It's the best investment ever. It's like a mini car payment the way I see it. Also, and my question then is on Tom, on polymer guns. I'm switching over to Glock, the Glock platform, and I see a lot of people do stippling on their guns and frame modifications. And I wonder about if that weakens the frame, if it's worth it in the first place, and if so, who I can rely upon to do a good job, if you have any recommendations.
All right, 3 questions there. Who can do it? Is it worth it? Does it weaken the frame? Anytime you remove something, it weakens it. That's just a done deal. We're talking about actually grinding away or reducing the grip diameter of a Glock, those types of things. There are gunsmiths out there who do a very good job. They're experienced with it. Robar down in Phoenix does a very nice job. Robarguns.com, ROBAR. They do a nice job. I will do it for you, but you're only going to get half a gun back because I'll probably cut right through the grip when I'm doing it. So you may not want to go that way. I'm just saying. I would never attempt to do that because I know me. Now, here's an interesting deal. Rather than cut things away, I know people who do stippling with a soldering iron. And heat that puppy up and just kind of keep squishing it into the grip to make little like checkering things on it. But here's the thing. Do you have your Glock yet?
Yes, I do. I've got a 21 and a 30.
How do they shoot for you?
They shoot great, and that's why I'm wondering if it's a more a stylistic thing or if it's a material improvement in performance out of the weapon. I don't know.
No. If they shoot great for you, don't mess with them. Right?
Yes. And the new Glock Gen 4s have different palm sizes.
Yes.
You can actually make the grip fit your hand. So maybe you need a new Glock.
Yeah, the Gen 4s are much more amenable to different hand sizes. So that's another way to go. But look, if they shoot well for you, don't monkey with them. Rather than spending money on that, spend money on ammo and on training. And that's a much better return on investment. That's where I would go. And look, I appreciate it, Tim. Eric, I appreciate your patience. On line 2, you're up, and I know I have about a minute, so dive in, please.
Well, one thing you can do for health care is, like Samaritan's Ministries, you got to have your pastor sign a paper that says you go to church weekly and answer a few pretty personal questions, but that works for me. I only pay $180 a month, and I do not have to pay the fine for not having insurance. And then I did tell my doctor about the questionnaire at the front office, and he actually moved offices because the office that he was with would not stop asking those questions.
Really? Your doctor actually left the practice he was with. He went off to some other place because the folks who ran the practice there wouldn't stop doing it.
Correct.
I'll be son of a gun. All right, thanks, Eric. I appreciate that. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Huh. It's a good point. Don't assume that your particular physician is on board with this. He or she may be told to do this. Have a talk and say, look, that's just wrong. That's just wrong that you asked this. It's a violation of my privacy. It's probably a boundary violation, which is actionable by the state licensing board. And I just don't think you ought to be doing that. And he or she may be saying, yeah, you're right. They tell me to do this. And say, well, I'll tell you what, why don't you just put that form away? We're not even going to address that one, and let's move on. That would work.
There is a shortage of doctors out there. They can go somewhere else.
There you go. That'll work for you. All right, 866-TALK-GUN. What are you taking to the range these days? Range reports are welcome. And if you're thinking about buying something, or you did just buy something, give us a holler, 866-TALK-GUN.